They were the dynamic duo of Florida's fashion world, unstoppable, inseparable, and envied by all. Sophia Reyes, the fearless designer with a vision that turned heads, and Maddie Hart, the quiet mastermind who made it all happen. Together, they built an empire, redefining Miami's fashion scene. But behind the glittering runways and dazzling success, a darker story was unfolding, one of envy, betrayal, and a friendship that would end in blood. The partnership seemed destined for greatness, but as their empire grew, so did the cracks in their bond. Jealousy and resentment simmered beneath the surface, invisible to the adoring public. What began as a story of shared dreams and triumphs would spiral into a nightmare no one could have predicted. How does a friendship so deeply rooted in trust and shared ambition descend into such horrifying violence? What happens when the very success you've worked for becomes the weapon that tears you apart? In the high-stakes fashion world, where every deal is a gamble and every smile hides a secret, the price of ambition can be deadly. Sophia and Maddie's story isn't just about fashion, it's about the human heart and how envy and greed can twist even the closest bonds into something unrecognizable. It's a chilling reminder that the people closest to us often hold the power to destroy us. Before we unravel this shocking tale of ambition gone wrong, make sure to like this video and subscribe for more gripping stories of betrayal, power, and tragedy. Buckle up, this one will leave you questioning everything about trust and success. Sophia Reyes was a name synonymous with brilliance. Born to immigrant parents in the heart of Miami's Little Havana, her journey from humble beginnings to the pinnacle of the fashion world was nothing short of legendary. Her childhood home was a small, crumbling apartment where the weight of reality often crushed dreams. But Sophia was different. She had a vision, a spark that refused to be extinguished. By her early 20s, Sophia had clawed her way into the competitive world of fashion, not with privilege but with raw talent and relentless determination. Her designs were bold, unapologetic, and impossible to ignore. Celebrities clamored to wear her creations, and her name became a staple on red carpets and magazine covers. She was celebrated as the woman who redefined Miami's fashion scene, turning it into a global epicenter of style and sophistication. But it wasn't just her talent that drew people in. It was her presence. Sophia was magnetic, commanding every room she entered with a confidence that bordered on intimidating. Her fans adored her rags-to-riches story, but for those who knew her personally, admiration often mixed with envy. Success hadn't softened Sophia, it had sharpened her edges. If Sophia was the star, Maddie Hart was the steady hand behind the curtain, ensuring everything ran like clockwork. Quiet and pragmatic, Maddie had a knack for numbers, contracts, and the delicate art of negotiation. She was the one who secured the funding for their first boutique, managed their growing team, and ensured Sophia's genius was never overshadowed by logistical chaos. Theirs was a friendship forged in the fires of college, where they bonded over shared dreams and late-night brainstorming sessions in their cramped dorm room. Maddie had dreams of her own once, dreams of becoming a writer or perhaps a gallery curator, but she set them aside to support Sophia. She believed in her friend's talent so deeply that she was willing to fade into the background to see it flourish. Maddie was the yin to Sophia's yang, the calm to her storm, but over time the sacrifices Maddie made began to weigh on her. The public saw her as the other one, the faceless partner in Sophia's empire. While Sophia basked in the spotlight, Maddie's contributions were often overlooked, leaving her with a growing sense of invisibility. Together, Sophia and Maddie were the epitome of modern fashion success. Their brand wasn't just about clothes, it was about a lifestyle, luxury, empowerment, and ambition. Fans idolized them, dubbing them the perfect pair. Their story was splashed across glossy magazines. Their partnership was hailed as unshakable. But behind the perfectly curated Instagram posts and dazzling public appearances, cracks were beginning to form. Maddie's quiet resentment grew as she watched Sophia take all the credit for their shared success. Sophia, on the other hand, seemed increasingly blind to Maddie's sacrifices, consumed by her own ambition and the allure of fame. What the world didn't see was the simmering tension beneath the surface. While Sophia reveled in her role as a trailblazing designer, Maddie began to question her place in the empire they'd built together. The friendship that once felt like a partnership of equals was slowly becoming a one-woman show, with Maddie relegated to the shadows. The cracks were subtle at first, a dismissive comment here, an unacknowledged effort there, but they were growing wider with every passing day. The public couldn't see it, but those closest to them could feel the shift. Friends and colleagues whispered about the strain, wondering how long the perfect pair could hold it together. The opportunity came like a thunderclap, a call from Lux International, one of the most prestigious names in global fashion. Known for turning designers into household names, Lux offered a multi-million-dollar deal to expand Sofia Reyes's brand to an international audience. This was the kind of deal that could cement Sofia's legacy. When the news broke, Sofia was ecstatic. Her designs would be featured in flagship stores from Paris to Tokyo, her name etched alongside the titans of the industry. It was everything she had ever dreamed of, the culmination of years of tireless work and relentless ambition. But beneath the glittering promise of global success lay a devastating catch. Lux didn't want a partnership, they wanted a singular star. Their vision for the brand's expansion revolved entirely around Sofia. The deal required her to be the sole creative lead, leaving no room for Maddie Hart. To Sofia, the terms were a bitter pill, but a necessary one. She rationalized it as the cost of greatness, a small sacrifice for an opportunity this monumental. It's just business, she told herself, brushing aside the nagging discomfort that crept into her thought. When she broke the news to Maddie, her tone was upbeat, almost dismissive. "This is it, Maddie. We've made it. Lux is going to take us to the next level," she said, waving the contract like a trophy. But Maddie didn't see a trophy. She saw betrayal. For Maddie, the deal wasn't just a professional slight, it was a personal blow. She had stood by Sofia through every struggle, every late night, every crisis. She had sacrificed her own dreams to help build their empire, only to be pushed aside when the stakes were highest. As Sofia gushed about the opportunity, Maddie's stomach churned. "What about me?" she finally asked, her voice trembling. Sofia hesitated, her enthusiasm dimming for the first time. "You'll still be part of the team, Maddie. Just not in the way Lux envisions. They need a single face for the brand, and that face has to be me." The words hit Maddie like a punch to the gut. It wasn't just about the deal, it was about what it represented. To Maddie it was clear. In Sofia's eyes, she was expendable. Maddie's anger simmered beneath the surface, unspoken but palpable. She began to replay every moment of their partnership, every instance where she had taken a back seat for Sofia's benefit. The late nights spent fixing Sofia's mistakes, the sacrifices she made to keep the business afloat, the times she let Sofia take the spotlight without complaint. All of it felt meaningless now. Meanwhile, Sofia remained oblivious to the depth of Maddie's hurt. She assumed Maddie would understand, that she would fall in line as she always had. But this time was different. This time, Maddie wasn't just being sidelined. Sofia decided to throw a lavish celebration to mark the deal, inviting Miami's elite to her penthouse for an evening of champagne and congratulations. The room buzzed with excitement, guests fawning over Sofia and her monumental achievement. Maddie, however, stood in the corner, nursing a drink and a growing sense of alienation. As she watched Sofia bask in the adoration of their peers, a wave of bitterness washed over her. Then, she overheard a conversation that shattered her composure. "She's brilliant," a guest gushed. "Honestly, I've always wondered why she kept that Maddie girl around. Sofia doesn't need her." The words were a dagger to Maddie's heart. She set her glass down, her hands trembling with suppressed rage. Later that night, Maddie confronted Sofia in private. "Do you even realize what you've done?" she demanded, her voice quivering with anger. Sofia, taken aback, tried to diffuse the tension. "Maddie, come on. You're overreacting. This is good for both of us." "For both of us?" Maddie shot back, her voice rising. "You've thrown me under the bus, Sofia. After everything I've done for you, this is how you repay me?" Sofia's patience snapped. "I've carried this brand, Maddie. I'm the one people want to see, the one they're investing in. You knew this was my dream, and you knew what it would take to make it happen." The argument ended with Maddie storming out, tears streaming down her face. For the first time, the cracks in their partnership were laid bare, and neither woman realized just how deep they ran. What neither Sophia nor Maddie could have predicted was how quickly those cracks would widen. The Lux deal wasn't just a business decision. It was the match that would ignite a firestorm of resentment, betrayal, and ultimately, violence. The deal that promised to elevate their empire would instead become the catalyst for its destruction. The fallout from the Lux deal wasn't immediate, but it was inevitable. Maddie Hart, once the steady hand behind Sophia's meteoric rise, now felt like a forgotten footnote in their shared success. Every interaction between them became strained, their conversations laced with unspoken tension. Maddie's thoughts turned inward, replaying the sacrifices she had made for Sophia over the years. The flashbacks came unbidden. Maddie had always justified these sacrifices as part of their partnership. They were a team, she told herself, a unit. But now, as she watched Sophia revel in the spotlight alone, Maddie began to see things differently. Each memory felt like a wound reopening with fresh intensity. She remembered the day they signed the lease for their first boutique, the way Sophia had hugged her and said, "We're in this together." Maddie had believed it then, but now those words felt hollow. The resentment took root, growing stronger with every passing day. Maddie began to question her place in the partnership. Was she ever truly an equal, or had she always been a stepping stone for Sophia's ambition? Sophia, meanwhile, was riding the high of her newfound success. The Lux deal had opened doors she'd only dreamed of, and she was determined to make the most of it. To her, Maddie's concerns felt like an unwelcome distraction. "It's just business, Maddie," Sophia said one evening as they reviewed the Lux contract together. "You're taking this way too personally." Maddie's jaw tightened. "It is personal, Sophia. I've been here since day one, building this with you, and now I'm being pushed aside like I don't matter." Sophia sighed, her patience wearing thin. "You do matter. But this isn't about feelings, it's about what's best for the brand. Lux wants me as the face of the company. That's just how it is." The words stung, but it wasn't just what Sophia said. It was how she said it. The dismissive tone, the casual shrug, the way she refused to meet Maddie's eyes. It all spoke volumes. To Sophia, this was a business decision. To Maddie, it was a betrayal. As the weeks went on, Sophia's dismissiveness only deepened the divide. She began to sideline Maddie in meetings, taking on more control of the brand's direction without consulting her. When Maddie tried to voice her concerns, Sophia waved them off with platitudes or changed the subject. "It's nothing personal," Sophia would say, her tone breezy. "You're still part of this, Maddie, just in a different way." But Maddie didn't feel like she was part of anything anymore. The resentment Maddie felt began to consume her. She started avoiding Sophia, retreating into her own thoughts. The once steady partnership that had defined their friendship now felt like a distant memory. Her bitterness seeped into her work. She began missing deadlines, withdrawing from meetings, and snapping at their staff. Sophia noticed the change but chalked it up to Maddie being overly emotional. But this time Maddie wasn't coming around. She was spiraling deeper into resentment, and the cracks in their friendship were turning into chasms. The night of the Lux deal celebration was nothing short of spectacular. Sophia spared no expense, transforming a luxurious Miami rooftop into a glittering paradise. Crystal chandeliers hung above sleek white furniture, the air filled with the clinking of champagne glasses and the hum of conversation. The city skyline twinkled in the background, reflecting the grandeur of Sophia's latest achievement. Fashion icons, celebrities, and socialites filled the space, each vying for a moment with Sophia. Dressed in a custom gown that shimmered like liquid gold, she was the star of the night, basking in the glow of her success. Maddie, on the other hand, lingered in the shadows, nursing a glass of wine and a growing sense of alienation. She had been relegated to a background role, introduced to guests as Sophia's business partner, with a polite smile before the conversation shifted back to Sophia. Each introduction felt like another knife in Maddie's back. Then came the moment that shattered her. Maddie was passing by a small group of guests when she heard Sophia's voice, clear and unmistakable. She paused, hidden just out of sight as Sophia laughed and said, "Maddie? She's replaceable. Lux knows it, and honestly, so do I. She's always been more of an assistant than a partner." The words hit Maddie like a physical blow. Her grip on her wineglass tightened as rage bubbled up inside her. She felt her cheeks flush, her heart pounding in her chest. After everything she had done, after years of loyalty and sacrifice, this was how Sophia saw her? Humiliated and seething, Maddie retreated to a private room, her mind racing. But she didn't stay there long. Fueled by anger, she stormed back into the party, her eyes scanning the crowd until they landed on Sophia. Maddie found Sophia holding court with a group of high-profile guests, her laughter ringing out like a bell. Without hesitation, Maddie grabbed her by the arm and pulled her away, ignoring the surprised looks from the crowd. "What the hell are you doing?" "I heard what you said," Maddie spat, her voice shaking with fury. "Replaceable? Is that what I am to you, after everything I've done for you?" Sophia rolled her eyes, her patience already thin. "Oh, come on, Maddie, you're being dramatic. It was just small talk." "Small talk?" Maddie's voice cracked. "You humiliated me in front of everyone. You've been treating me like I'm nothing ever since this Lux deal came." Sophia crossed her arms, her expression hardening. "You're blowing this way out of proportion. I've worked my ass off to get here, Maddie. This is my moment, and I won't let you ruin it because you're feeling insecure." Years of suppressed emotions came pouring out as Maddie's composure crumbled. "Insecure? You think this is about insecurity? I gave up everything for you, Sophia. I put my dreams on hold to build this with you, and now, when you finally get what you've always wanted, you toss me aside like garbage?" "You..." Sophia's eyes narrowed. "I didn't ask you to sacrifice anything for me. If you're unhappy with your life, that's on you, Maddie. Don't blame me because you couldn't keep up." Maddie's voice dropped to a dangerous whisper. "Keep up? You wouldn't even be here if it weren't for me. I kept this business running when you were too busy chasing your next big idea. I stood by you when no one else would. And now you're telling me I'm replaceable?" Sophia's lips curled into a cold smile. "You're right, Maddie. I wouldn't be here without you. But here's the thing. You needed me, not the other way around. You're nothing without me." For a moment, neither of them spoke. Maddie's hands trembled, her vision blurring with tears of anger and betrayal. Sophia, ever composed, turned on her heel and began to walk away. This wasn't just about the Lux deal anymore. It was about every slight, every dismissal, every time Sophia had taken her for granted. The air was heavy with unspoken tension as Maddie pulled up to Sophia's sprawling waterfront mansion. Sophia had called earlier that day, her tone unusually conciliatory. "Let's talk," she had said. "We've been through too much to let things end like this. Come over tonight and we'll work it out." Despite her lingering anger, Maddie clung to a fragile hope that this meeting could mend their fractured friendship. She walked through the grand double doors, the polished marble floors echoing her footsteps. Sophia greeted her in the lavish living room, dressed impeccably in a silk robe, holding a glass of wine like the queen of her domain. "Thanks for coming," Sophia said, her smile brittle. Maddie nodded, her guard up. "You said you wanted to talk." Sophia gestured to the sleek leather sofa, but Maddie remained standing, her arms crossed. "I do. I've been thinking about how we can move forward," Sophia began, sliding a thick stack of papers across the glass coffee table. "What's this?" Maddie asked, her voice wary. Sophia's smile tightened. "A revised partnership agreement. I've adjusted your equity share to better reflect your contributions." Maddie's stomach dropped as she scanned the document. Her stake in their empire had been slashed to a fraction of what it once was. "You can't be serious," she said, her voice shaking. Sophia shrugged, sipping her wine. "It's fair, Maddie. You've been distracted lately, and Lux agrees that the brand needs a more focused direction." The words were like gasoline on a fire. Maddie's frustration, simmering for weeks, erupted into a torrent of rage. "Fair? You call this fair? After everything I've done for you?" Sophia stood, her composure slipping. "Don't make this about the past, Maddie. This is business. If you can't handle that, maybe you're not cut out for this world." Maddie's voice cracked with emotion. "You're unbelievable. You've taken everything from me, my time, my energy, my loyalty, and now you want to take this too?" Sophia rolled her eyes. "Oh, stop playing the victim. You were lucky to be part of this at all. Let's face it, Maddie. You've always been the sidekick." The words were a dagger to Maddie's heart. Without thinking, she grabbed the crystal award from the table, a heavy symbol of their shared success. "You don't get to talk to me like that," she hissed, her grip tightening. Sophia's eyes widened as Maddie raised the award, her face a mask of fury. "Maddie, don't—" But it was too late. In a moment of blind rage, Maddie swung the award with all her strength. The sound of shattering glass and the sickening thud of impact filled the room as Sophia crumpled to the floor, her lifeless eyes staring into the void. The silence that followed was deafening. Maddie stood frozen, her chest heaving, the bloodied crystal award slipping from her trembling hands. Her mind raced as the reality of what she had done sank in. "Oh my God," she whispered, backing away from Sophia's motionless body. "What have I done?" Panic took over. She couldn't let the world know what had happened, not like this. Desperation fueled her next actions as she scrambled to cover her tracks. Maddie tore through the mansion, overturning furniture and smashing vases to stage the scene as a robbery. She rifled through drawers, pocketing jewelry and cash to sell the illusion. Every action felt surreal, like she was watching herself in a nightmare she couldn't escape. Before leaving, Maddie paused in the doorway, glancing back at Sophia's lifeless form. The vibrant, commanding woman who had once been her best friend now lay in a pool of blood, her dreams and ambitions silenced forever. Maddie fled into the night, the stolen items weighing heavily in her bag. The once bustling mansion now stood eerily silent, its opulence marred by the shadow of violence. The following morning, the mansion's cleaning staff discovered the scene. Police swarmed the property, the media frenzy igniting almost instantly. Headlines blared the shocking news: top Florida designer found dead in brutal robbery. But, as investigators combed through the evidence, the cracks in Maddie's cover-up began to show. The staged robbery was sloppy, the inconsistencies glaring. The truth was lurking just beneath the surface, waiting to be uncovered. For Maddie, the crime was only the beginning of her unraveling. The weight of her actions, and the lies she would have to tell to keep them hidden, was a burden she could never escape. The perfect partnership that had once dazzled the fashion world was now a cautionary tale of betrayal, ambition, and the deadly cost of unchecked rage. Detective Elena Cruz was no stranger to high-profile cases, but the brutal murder of Sophia Reyes was different. The media frenzy, the glamorous victim, and the tangled web of relationships promised a challenge, and Cruz thrived on challenges. With 15 years of experience and a reputation for solving the unsolvable, Cruz approached the case with her signature blend of intuition and methodical precision. The crime scene at Sophia's mansion was a chaotic tableau of shattered glass, overturned furniture, and stolen valuables. At first glance, it seemed like a textbook robbery gone wrong. But Cruz's sharp eyes caught the inconsistencies immediately. "The mess is too calculated," she muttered, kneeling to inspect the broken vases. "Whoever did this wanted it to look like a robbery, but they didn't think it through." Her suspicions deepened when the security team handed over footage from the estate's cameras. Most of the feeds had been disabled, a rookie move by the perpetrator, but one camera at the side gate remained active. The grainy footage showed Maddie Hart arriving at Sophia's home late that night, her face tense and determined. Hours later, the same camera captured Maddie leaving, clutching a bag that appeared heavier than when she'd arrived. Meanwhile, Maddie Hart was unraveling. In the days following the murder, she couldn't shake the feeling that Sophia's presence lingered, watching her every move. Shadows seemed to flicker in the corners of her vision, and Sophia's voice echoed in her mind, replaying their final, venomous argument. "You're nothing without me," Sophia's voice taunted in her dreams. Maddie avoided mirrors, terrified of seeing the guilt etched into her own face. Her paranoia grew with every news report about the investigation. She couldn't turn on the TV or scroll through social media without seeing Sophia's radiant smile plastered across the screen, accompanied by headlines like, "Fashion Icon's Tragic End, a Robbery," or something. Detective Cruz worked tirelessly, piecing together the puzzle. The breakthrough came when forensic analysis revealed Maddie's fingerprints on the bloodied crystal award. The murder weapon, left in the chaos of the crime scene, was a damning piece of evidence. With the evidence mounting, Cruz obtained a warrant to bring Maddie in for questioning. The confrontation was inevitable. In the sterile interrogation room, Maddie sat across from Cruz, her eyes hollow and rimmed with exhaustion. At first, she denied everything, clinging to the story of a robbery gone wrong, but Cruz's calm persistence chipped away at her defense. "Your fingerprints were on the murder weapon," Cruz said, sliding a photo of the crystal award across the table. "You were seen on security footage entering and leaving Sophia's home that night. The evidence doesn't lie, Maddie, but I need to hear the truth from you." Maddie's composure shattered. Tears streamed down her face as she buried her head in her hands. "I didn't mean to," she sobbed. "I didn't go there to hurt her. I just wanted her to listen." Through broken sentences and heaving sobs, Maddie confessed. She spoke of years of feeling overshadowed and undervalued, of sacrificing her dreams for Sophia's success, only to be discarded when she was no longer useful. She recounted the fateful night, the argument that spiraled out of control, and the moment she lost herself in a haze of anger and betrayal. "And she called me replaceable," Maddie whispered, her voice barely audible. "After everything I did for her, she said I was nothing. I snapped." Maddie's confession sent shockwaves through the media and the fashion world. The golden duo, once hailed as the epitome of friendship and success, had been torn apart by jealousy and ambition. Detective Cruz closed the case. Maddie's arrest marked the end of an era, leaving behind a legacy stained with tragedy and regret. The murder of Sophia Reyes and the arrest of Maddie Hart exploded across every media platform, capturing the world's morbid fascination. News outlets dubbed it the fall of Miami's fashion queens, and the story became a headline fixture. Glamorous photos of Sophia at red carpet events were juxtaposed with Maddie's disheveled mugshot, creating a stark contrast that fed the public's appetite for drama. Morning talk shows dissected the case, with experts speculating on the psychological toll of ambition and fame. True crime podcasts churned out episodes, rehashing every detail of the crime scene and Maddie's confession. Even fashion blogs weighed in, lamenting the loss of a trailblazing designer while analyzing how jealousy and betrayal could brew beneath the surface of such a celebrated partnership. One viral post read, "Sophia built her empire on Maddie's back, and when she was done, she threw her away. Maddie's actions were wrong, but don't pretend Sophia was innocent." Another countered, "No amount of betrayal justifies murder. Maddie is a jealous snake who let her rage destroy a legend." Maddie's trial became a media circus. Paparazzi swarmed the courthouse daily, capturing every moment of Maddie's arrival, her head bowed and hands cuffed. Inside, the courtroom was packed with reporters, legal analysts, and even fashion enthusiasts eager to witness the unraveling of Miami's most glamorous friendship. The prosecution painted Maddie as a woman consumed by jealousy, claiming she had planned the murder after years of simmering resentment. They emphasized the brutality of the act, showing the jury the bloodied crystal award and gruesome photos of the crime scene. "Maddie Hart didn't just lose control," the prosecutor declared. "She made a choice to end the life of the woman she claimed was her best friend." The defense, however, argued that Maddie's actions were a crime of passion. They highlighted her years of loyalty to Sophia and the emotional toll of being repeatedly undervalued and discarded. "Maddie Hart was pushed to the breaking point," her lawyer said. "She didn't plan this. She went to Sophia's house that night seeking reconciliation, not revenge. What happened was a tragic accident, born of years of emotional abuse and betrayal." The courtroom drama intensified as witnesses took the stand. Former employees testified about the toxic dynamics between Sophia and Maddie, describing how Sophia often dismissed Maddie's contributions while taking all the credit. Others painted Maddie as a quiet, simmering presence who resented Sophia's fame and dominance. As the trial unfolded, public opinion remained fiercely divided. Some saw Maddie as a tragic figure, a woman whose loyalty and sacrifices were exploited until she snapped. Comments flooded social media posts. Sophia wasn't a saint. She used Maddie for years. This isn't murder, it's a cry for justice. Others were unforgiving, condemning Maddie as a cold-blooded killer who destroyed a life out of petty jealousy. One tweet read, "Maddie Hart had everything, a partnership, success, a place in fashion history. She threw it all away because she couldn't handle playing second fiddle." When the jury finally delivered its verdict, the world held its breath. After weeks of deliberation, Maddie was found guilty of second-degree murder. The courtroom erupted in a mix of cheers and sobs as Maddie's fate was sealed. As she was led away in handcuffs, Maddie turned to her lawyer and whispered, "I just wanted her to see me." Sophia's death and Maddie's conviction left an indelible mark on Miami's fashion world. Sophia's brand, once a beacon of glamour, struggled to recover, tainted by the scandal. Maddie's name became synonymous with betrayal, her story a cautionary tale of how ambition and envy can destroy even the closest of bonds. In the end, the world mourned not just Sophia's death but the loss of what their partnership represented. A dream turned nightmare, a friendship shattered by greed and pride. The murder of Sophia Reyes and the arrest of Maddie Hart exploded across every media platform, capturing the world's morbid fascination. News outlets dubbed it the fall of Miami's fashion queens, and the story became a headline fixture. Glamorous photos of Sophia at red carpet events were juxtaposed with Maddie's disheveled mugshot, creating a stark contrast that fed the public's appetite for drama. Morning talk shows dissected the case, with experts speculating on the psychological toll of ambition and fame. True crime podcasts churned out episodes, rehashing every detail of the crime scene and Maddie's confession. Even fashion blogs weighed in, lamenting the loss of a trail-blazing designer, while analyzing how jealousy and betrayal could brew beneath the surface of such a celebrated partnership. One viral post read, "Sophia built her empire on Maddie's back, and when she was done, she threw her away. Maddie's actions were wrong, but don't pretend Sophia was innocent." Another countered, "No amount of betrayal justifies murder. Maddie is a jealous snake who let her rage destroy a legend." Maddie's trial became a media circus. Paparazzi swarmed the courthouse daily, capturing every moment of Maddie's arrival, her head bowed and hands cuffed. Inside, the courtroom was packed with reporters, legal analysts, and even fashion enthusiasts eager to witness the unraveling of Miami's most glamorous friendship. The prosecution painted Maddie as a woman consumed by jealousy, claiming she had planned the murder after years of simmering resentment. They emphasized the brutality of the act, showing the jury the bloodied crystal award and gruesome photos of the crime scene. Maddie Hart didn't just lose control, the prosecutor declared. She made a choice to end the life of the woman she claimed was her best friend. The defense, however, argued that Maddie's actions were a crime of passion. They highlighted her years of loyalty to Sophia and the emotional toll of being repeatedly undervalued and discarded. Maddie Hart was pushed to the breaking point, her lawyer said. She didn't plan this. She went to Sophia's house that night seeking reconciliation, not revenge. What happened was a tragic accident born of years of emotional abuse and betrayal. A bombshell came when the prosecution played the security footage of Maddie leaving Sophia's mansion with the bag of stolen valuables. Gasps filled the courtroom as the footage underscored the calculated nature of Maddie's cover-up. As the trial unfolded, public opinion remained fiercely divided. Some saw Maddie as a tragic figure, a woman whose loyalty and sacrifices were exploited until she snapped. Comments flooded social media posts. Sophia wasn't a saint. She used Maddie for years. This isn't murder. It's a cry for justice. Others were unforgiving, condemning Maddie as a cold-blooded killer who destroyed a life out of petty jealousy. One tweet read, "Maddie Hart had everything, a partnership, success, a place in fashion history. She threw it all away because she couldn't handle playing second fiddle." When the jury finally delivered its verdict, the world held its breath. After weeks of deliberation, Maddie was found guilty of second-degree murder. The courtroom erupted in a mix of cheers and sobs as Maddie's fate was sealed. As she was led away in handcuffs, Maddie turned to her lawyer and whispered, "I just wanted her to see me." Sophia's death and Maddie's conviction left an indelible mark on Miami's fashion world. Sophia's brand, once a beacon of glamour, struggled to recover, tainted by the scandal. Maddie's name became synonymous with betrayal, her story a cautionary tale of how ambition and envy can destroy even the closest of bonds. In the end, the world mourned not just Sophia's death but the loss of what their partnership represented. A dream turned nightmare, a friendship shattered by greed and pride. As the dust settles on the chilling story of Sophia Reyes and Maddie Hart, one undeniable truth remains. Ambition and resentment, left unchecked, can unravel even the most unshakable bonds. Their friendship, once celebrated as the perfect partnership, became a battlefield where envy and pride waged a silent war. Sophia, the fearless visionary, and Maddie, the loyal architect of their shared empire, were two halves of a whole. Together they built a legacy that dazzled the world. But beneath the glittering facade lay cracks born of unspoken grievances, imbalanced power, and the suffocating pressure of success. Their story is a haunting reminder of how ambition, envy, and fractured trust can transform love and loyalty into weapons of destruction. It forces us to confront uncomfortable truths about the cost of success and the fragility of human connection. As we reflect on this harrowing tale, we're left with questions that will forever divide opinion. Was Maddie's rage justified after years of feeling overlooked and discarded? Or was this a crime born of jealousy, greed, and a refusal to let go of the past? Could their friendship have been saved if they had confronted their grievances openly and honestly? What do you think? Was this tragedy inevitable, or could it have been avoided with a single moment of vulnerability and understanding? Stay for more chilling tales. If this story gripped you, don't forget to like and subscribe for more tales that delve into the darkest corners of ambition, betrayal, and tragedy. Join us as we uncover the hidden truths behind the most shocking stories of our time, because sometimes the most glamorous lives hide the most haunting secrets. The cautionary tale of Sophia Reyes and Maddie Hart reminds us all, in the pursuit of success, never lose sight of the human connections that make it worthwhile.